Asheo. Asheo. On the 14th of June, everything changed. We are still looking for our sense of home. We are trying to find our way home. Because there's a natural mystic blowing through the air. And if you listen carefully now, you will hear. This could be the first trumpet, might as well be the last. Many more will have to suffer, many more will have to die. Don't ask me why, 'cause things are not the way they used to be. I can't tell no lie. One and all got to face reality now. Though I try to find the answers to all the questions they ask, though I know it's impossible to go living through the past, can't tell no lie, 'cause things are not the way they used to be.
I don't believe I have a whole load to say that hasn't already been said. But I just want to remind us, this tragedy was not an accident in any meaningful sense. It was a product of a philosophy that says some lives have value and others do not. A product of a philosophy that says that people that live in social housing apparently should not even be able to sleep safely in their beds. A product of a philosophy of malign neglect. A product of a philosophy that suddenly has a magic money tree whenever it's time to bomb some country somewhere around the world, but does not have basic money for people living in social housing on their own doorsteps. It was a product of a philosophy that in the days after all these people lost their lives, decided to demonize the people living here in the press rather than hold the people accountable, responsible. That's the kind of free press we have in this country. People were warned, councils were written to, residents of the tower knew it was unsafe. People ignored, deliberately ignored those messages, and this tragedy was a result of that. Is adequate fire safety and social housing reform anything radical to ask for? It should be normal. And I don't think many Londoners realise the profound inequalities that exist in London, just in the richest borough in the country, yeah? But that's the product of this philosophy.
The tragedy at Grenfell was entirely avoidable. The people at Grenfell Tower warned of the dangers of their building and they were not listened to. UKCAG is warning of the same dangers and the government does not seem to be listening. It is incredibly disrespectful to the memories of those who lost their lives that there are still thousands of buildings across the country that are covered in dangerous materials. The government has the power to make sure the tragedy of the 14th of June 2017 never happens again. In our recent mental health survey, more than 90% of the people living in these dangerous buildings said that their mental health had deteriorated, and more than 20% of people said that they had thoughts of suicide and self-harm.
It was like black snow on a summer's night and cold shoulders on a summer's day. Invisible violence becomes visible in such a sudden way. Riding, we are deafened by your silence. The tombstone in the sky is blocking out our horizons. Ironically, what protected them from regeneration was a nail in the coffin for 3 generations. 24 months, no arrest made. The image in our head stayed. Stressed faces press the windows, looking for an escape. It seems they underestimate this corner of the Westway. Witnesses to the crime. We fear a whitewash is the end game. 14th of June, looked up and felt my heart spasm. We've been waiting 24 months for answers, and still we can't have them. Windows to our souls, witness anguish that you can't fathom. No disrespect intended, but troubled water was an art anthem. Carnival on the soul of Kelso, Cole Crane. What you think will develop on the strength of those names? Over 70 everyday people, no celebrities. We're left here picking up pieces of broken memories. No more to big business, fiddling regulations. Grenfell Action Group, the most tragic of vindications. A place where the flames took everything that was sacred. We're planting seeds for trees we might not sit in the shade of. Combustible and still legal, regulations feel feeble. This has to be a never again moment. Neoliberalism kills people. For innocence tarnished and beauty that was lost. Regulations disregarded. It's the humans that's the cost. Hospitals, hotels and schools, how can we forget that? Up and down the country, there's people sleeping in death traps. We're calling for an end to the disdain. Better bow your heads in silence when we're mentioning their names. We're calling for survivors rehoused in the best place, but still we demonstrate against bonfires of red tape. We're calling for the companies and council held accountable, climbing up the mountain, though its height seems insurmountable. We're calling from the bottom of our lungs, truth, justice and peace for all of the lost ones. We will not betray the dead, because betrayal of them is a betrayal of the living. Thank you very much.
United we are rock, divided we are sand. And when all the water is gone, only the larger stones will remain on the riverbed.